Hello everyone. So I am going to answer the question from week 2 discussion, that is, what are some tips and tricks that you have discovered that help you write more effectively? So let's start with the first one, planning. Good writing begins with clear thinking, and planning helps me to organize my ideas before I start. So usually I brainstorm and I try to make a quick outline. I give myself main points that I want to get across to my reader. So for example, an introduction, at least a part of the body, whether that includes 1, 2, 3 different bullet points, and a conclusion. So that helps me to keep track of myself so that I know exactly where I'm going. So if I get off path, I have a roadmap to come back to. My second tip is explaining something, writing like I'm explaining something to a real person. So I imagine my audience, sometimes you don't know who your audience is. So I imagine somebody who's smart, but somebody who may not be familiar with my topic. And then by doing that, it helps me to avoid using confusing language. I feel like in my area of work, we use a lot of acronyms, and I even get confused. And so when people are speaking and they say something, an acronym, a CAP, I have to think for a second. So I don't want my writer to have to do that. And so I try to not use confusing language for them. And then that also helps me to prevent using too long of sentences. That's going to take away from natural, reading rhythm that they have. Anyways, and then I try to keep my tone more conversational also, depending on who my audience is. So I think that that helps me to connect with my reader more. And I think that it helps them to understand the points that I'm making when I write, especially with more empathy and purpose, and I feel like they hear that better and they connect to it better. And my third tip is to revise and edit. So I find myself doing it over and over constantly. It's like a cycle, and I will actually even read my paper out loud and then see if there's points that don't make sense, and if they're not, then I stop in the middle of it, and then I will revise and I will edit. I'll move pieces around, I'll change sentence structures to see if it flows better when I'm reading it. So that way when my audience is reading it, or if they're hearing it, then it's going to have like a nice rhythm, and it's gonna flow very smoothly. That's also when I find my grammar issues. I'm terrible with grammar, spelling. Usually I will do my first draft and I'll just type, and I will type, and I make so many errors, it's crazy. But yes, so revise and edit and do it often. So those are the things that I try to do, the 3 things. I try to plan before I write so that I have something that helps me to stay on topic and on track. I try to write like I'm speaking to a real person so that I can connect with them better, and they can really understand what I'm writing, and I take time to revise and edit. Thank you.